Let me ask you something. Have you noticed how often there's a new way to make money online? A new side hustle, a new trend, a new promise that says this one is different. And every time you hear it, a small part of you thinks, maybe this time? But instead of feeling hopeful, you just feel, well, tired. If that sounds familiar, stay with me because today I want to talk about why I stopped chasing side hustles and what I chose to do instead. And more importantly, why that shift finally brought me peace of mind and not pressure. Hi, friends. If we haven't met yet, my name is Celine. I'm a nana to 3 grandkids. I work in the corporate world, and like many people in midlife, I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I worked hard, I showed up, I took responsibility seriously. But there came a moment when I tried to face something honestly. I was short on retirement. Not because I failed, but because life has seasons, and some of mine were pretty darn heavy. Like a lot of people, I spent years doing what needed to be done in the moment, taking care of family, showing up where I was needed, making practical decisions based on real life, not perfect plans. And those seasons don't always leave room for a long-term financial plan. They just don't. I've shared my full story openly in another video because I know how many people see themselves in it. I'll link that video below if you want to understand how I got where I am. But today isn't about replaying the past. It's about what I chose to do after I realized where I stood and why that decision finally replaced panic with calm. And here's something important. The issue wasn't that I hadn't found the right side hustle. The issue was that side hustles were never designed for stability. Let me explain. Side hustles sound really appealing because they promise quick results. They're often marked as easy, fast, low effort. But what usually happens is this. You start something new, you learn just enough to get going, you invest time and energy. Then the platform changes, the algorithms shift, the trends fade, and suddenly you're starting over again. That cycle is exhausting at any age, especially in midlife, because at this stage, we're not looking for excitement. We're looking for dependability. We don't want 10 things juggling. We want something that builds. That's when I stopped asking what's the fastest way to make money, and I started asking what actually lasts. And that question led me to something very different, something that doesn't get hype on social media: income stacking. What income stacking really means. When people hear the phrase income stacking, they often imagine a little chaos, multiple jobs, constant hustle, never turning off. That's not what I'm talking about here. Income stacking isn't about doing more. It's about making what you already learned work together. So instead of starting over every time something changes, you build one foundation and then layer an income on top of it. The same skills, the same system, the same effort, but it's multiplied. That's the difference. It's quicker, it's steadier, and it respects your time. I knew a few things about myself right away. I didn't want to build a website. I didn't want to create products from scratch, and I didn't want to bother friends and family. What I wanted was clarity, a system that already existed, a path that made sense, and skills that wouldn't disappear in 6 months. That's when I stopped chasing trends and I started learning digital income skills instead. Skills that transfer, that adapt, and skills that stack. And that shift changed how I looked at income completely. Because once you understand this next part, you stop chasing money and you start building stability. Trends expire, skills compound, and digital skills, understanding content, systems, automation, and how platforms actually work, don't vanish when something changes. They actually evolve. And when you build income on skills instead of hype, you're not dependent on one fragile system. You're building layers, and those layers support each other. That's what income stacking really is. This is exactly why I share something called the Freedom Formula Blueprint. Not as a shortcut and not as a promise, but as a map. It's a blueprint. It shows you how income layers fit together without overwhelm, especially for people who value clarity and peace of mind. If you're curious, it's linked in the description below. You can look at it on your own time without any pressure, and you can email me any questions that you have. And in a moment, I'll share the biggest mindset shift that helped me stop feeling behind. Income stacking didn't give me instant results. What it gave me was relief. Relief from constantly wondering, what if this doesn't work? Because when your income is layered, you're not depending on one fragile thing. You're building something that can bend without breaking. That matters especially when retirement is no longer an abstract idea. At this stage in life, we don't need hype. We need clarity. We need to know where our efforts go, why it matters, and how it supports our future. Income stacking respects that. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't shame you. It meets you where you are. And if you've ever felt like it might be too late, stay with me. I didn't start early. I didn't start perfectly. I started honestly, and that was enough. When I focused on building skills and stacking income slowly, you stop measuring yourself against noise. You start measuring progress in peace. If this way of thinking resonates with you, if you're tired of chasing and ready to build something steady, you're welcome to explore the free Freedom Formula Blueprint in the link below. And if learning alongside others matters to you, my Retirement Freedom Seekers community is there listed in the description below as well. We'd love to have you join us. No hype, no pressure, just support. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't need another side hustle. You need something that lasts. And that begins by stacking, not scrambling. Thank you for spending your time with me. I'll see you in the next video.